Hey everybody, and welcome back to the next part in my dialing in series for our Line 6 Helix. This week I had a request to take a look at dialing in a tone with the AC-30 model, or as it's known in the Helix, the Essex A-30. So I figured I would do just that and see if I can come up with maybe a 4-snapshot preset again. You're going to notice this time I'm working actually in Helix native, something a little bit different, but I originally dialed this in on the Helix floor. I was having a little bit of a computer issue today, so just to get around it, I'm just doing the Helix native thing for today. Yeah, so no big deal either way. The preset will still be up on custom tone, and you can use it on your Helix floor, LT, whatever you want, right? So let's dive in and take a look at what I did here. I created 4 snapshots: clean, push, OD, overdrive, and lead, with on the lead a little cameo being made by the Deranged Master, which I hadn't even really tried up until this point. So I had a couple people ask if I could maybe incorporate that. And I thought, because the AC-30 was a relatively low gain amp even when it was cranked, I thought, this would be a good chance to throw it in there. So let's take a look at what I did here. Like usual, I have my normal settings on my compressor and EQ. Didn't really do anything with the EQ on this. Low cut 100 Hertz, high cut 12 kilohertz, that's all it was. A little bit of light compression at the end for some glue. I have the room reverb, for no other reason, just on the clean snapshot. I have a little bit more, a decay of 5, mix of 34, and on all the rest of the snapshots, it's a decay of 3.5 and a mix of 25%. So as you can see, that just kind of stays the same. The delay I have only on the lead snapshot, and that's using my normal settings on the transistor tape. 18% feedback, mix of 25%, note sync is quarter notes. Again, you guys can mess with that to your own taste and liking. Over on the amp and cab though, I stuck with exactly what comes up with the Essex model as far as speaker cab goes. It's a 212 silver bell with the 121 ribbon at 5 inches back. I really like that. I didn't feel the need to change it. So this is just as it comes up stock, okay? I did play around with the amp, but I also played around with a tiny little bit with the split crossover set at 650 Hertz. So all the frequencies above that are getting boosted by 2 dB, and all the frequencies below that are being brought down by 1 dB. So that kind of just shaped the sound a little bit, just to kind of maybe give it a little bit more clarity on top and take a little bit of a little bit of muddiness I was hearing out of the bottom end. But again, very subtle stuff, but I kind of like what it did. So here's what I did with the amp. On the clean snapshot, I have the drive at 5, bass at 6.1, cut all the way down to 1 to allow some sparkle to come through. If anybody doesn't know what the cut control does on this model, the higher you put it, it ends up really darkening the sound and taking away a lot of the sort of high. So there it is on 1. Take it all the way up. Hear how much darker it's gotten. Okay, let's get that back over to 1 where it was. So that's what I decided on. Bass up at 6.1, treble at 5.8, presence at 8.5, channel volume at 9, and master at 7. And that gave me this kind of a nice clean tone. That's the bridge pickup. On the neck, okay, a couple different pickup settings. So I was liking that. It has a nice little chime to it, nice clarity to it, and it was cutting through nice, but it had some nice beef on the bottom as well. Okay, so that's what I had going for the clean. Now, what I did on this when I moved it to the push, I really didn't change any of the other settings other than the reverb I already mentioned, but the amp settings did change a little bit. If you notice, the cut went from 1, I brought it up to 2.7 to darken it up a bit. Bass was relatively the same. A little tiny bit difference on the treble, 5.8. Presence was at 8.5, now it's 7. I adjusted the channel volume accordingly. And I brought the drive up to 6 and the master up to 9 just to get the amp to break up a little bit more. So on the bridge pickup, this one sounded like this. So if you hit it hard, it's breaking up nicely. Still cleans up. Neck pickup. Okay. So I was liking that. If I use the HDR revoicer that is on the Godin Progression Plus I'm playing, it actually boosts it a little bit more so you can kind of hear what maybe a higher output pickup would sound like with it. So with the HDR off, with it on, so that's our push. Now, what I did to get it up to overdrive, I basically now crank the master and drive all the way up to 10, really to just open this amp up, push it really hard, see what we can get out of it, as much overdrive and distortion as we can out of it. The bass stayed around 6.2, I think 6.1. The cut went up to 4.9. I was trying to darken it up a little bit so it wouldn't get too abrasive. But along with that, the treble went from 5.6 down to 5. And the presence went from 7 up to 8. So I darkened it up with the cut, but added a little bit more presence into it, okay? Nothing else changes, and that sounds like this on the bridge pickup. Neck pickup. Middle position. I was really liking the way that broke up. Now, this is where I thought, okay, for the lead, what can we do to push this even over the top? And like I said before in the introduction of the video, had a lot of people asking me to try out the deranged master, which I hadn't really done. So I threw it on there with a drive of 5, but you know, obviously being the treble booster that it is, it's going to have a lot of that high-end, you know, cut to it. So I actually brought the bass way up to 9, the treble back a fair bit to 4.8, and I brought the level down just to kind of balance the volume between these presets. I kind of like what it did here, but those settings allowed me to kind of allow the snapshots to blend together a little bit. That sounded like this on the bridge pickup. Neck pickup. Back to the bridge. How's that compare to without the Range Master? And if I turn the delay off on this, the Range Master off. And again with the delay on. All right. What do you guys think of that? I hope you liked it. I know a lot of people had said to me that they were having a really hard time getting any usable tones out of the AC-30 models, and it's not really a model I've used a lot. I think I did mess around with it way back when I first got my Helix, but thought I would give it a try. Seems quite nice to me. Now, whether these are what anybody would consider sort of those classic AC-30 tones, I don't know. I wasn't necessarily going with anything like that in mind, just more dialing in something that I thought worked really well. This actually sounded really good through my power cab, as well as right now I'm just listening to my studio monitors. But yeah, it was a really nice tone, and I hope it's something that can at least be a starting point for some folks out there to tweak to their own liking, you know, whether they like the delay or maybe they want more drive on the Range Master, maybe they want a totally different overdrive pedal or none at all, you know, whatever. But at least hopefully it's a starting point to get somebody on the right path with their AC-30 if that's a model they've wanted to use. So thank you guys so much for tuning in again. I hope that was enjoyable, and I hope you guys really enjoy the preset. It will be up on Custom Tone. I'll have the link to it in the description below. And I hope you guys enjoy. I hope it works good for live or studio playing, or just for your own, playing at home, and you guys enjoy it. So again, like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please share it if you can. That would be really appreciated. I really do appreciate all the support you guys give me. And I will be back soon with some more content. And thank you again for tuning in. Ciao for now.